Evening guys, welcome to the Fantasy Panda channel here, where we're here to talk about FPL tonight. Just quickly on Twitter, just a big shout out to everyone that's been tweeting me about what we're going to talk about in this. I'm just going to cover a bit of last season, about the leagues we set up, about how we performed. So yeah, let's get cracking. So last season, as you know, I kind of, it says here on the top right hand corner that I come just out short of the top 1,000, which is an absolute killer. But you know, when I started the season, I didn't have any plans, there were no targets, kind of just let it roll and where it went to. So it was quite a pleasing season. In terms of winnings, you know, just over £2,000, and I actually started with £100. So you know, double my money by 20 times just over. So yeah, good stuff in that order. Just a quick shout out to the Twitter as well, because they set up the FPL Zoo World Championships, where there's 64 different animals from different countries, people in Canada and that. And never in my imagined dreams I'd be playing people all over the world for a little tournament, and yeah, come up trumps and won the thing. So where are we? There's a little trophy to go show for you, that one, little gold cup, you know, it sits on the mantelpiece alongside my other cash league, which was £1,000 worth of prize money in that one there. And it was the same league that had the highest triple cap, which won on a vice captain tiebreaker with Hazard, good man. And it was Aguero with a triple captain 57 that won that one. And then another mini league, little shield that only had 6 people with a bit of money involved, but you know, it's all part of the prize money and part of the trophies. So yeah, last season was quite an eventful one. Yeah, it started off half decent. You know, I'd never finished out really at the top 50k. Then once I got into the top 10, I never found out of the top 10k. Players that I'm going to mention that people were slating me for on Twitter at the time was Felipe Anderson, and I think he ended up scoring at Huddersfield and then scored a double the next week. And Callum Patterson was another one. And there was a week where Troy Deeney, everyone slated me for him, and he scored a hat trick at Cardiff, which was quite amusing. Yeah, you know, you put yourself out there and you get fired at, but it's all good. It's all good crack. FPL Twitter is a good place, so yeah, it's all good. Looking forward to next season, you know, in the top right corner you'll see here that I've 2,000 players have already joined the free Fantasy Panda League that's got a bit of prize money and a bit of monthly prize money involved as well, which, you know, when I set out for 500 would be a good, you know, a good number to get towards, considering the amount of followers and people interact on Twitter. But 2,000 with less like still 4 weeks of the season is crazy, so hopefully we'll work on something on that to increase that league a bit more, but you know, I'll let you know as we go. Yeah, and also people been asking about cash leagues. How do you set up cash leagues? What's the best advice? How do you set up yours? Because it looked really good. And as you see down the photos, like some of the trophies from last season, certain different leagues. I thought I've got another trophy that I didn't mention as well. That was from another league that I had about £500 in from a £10 note. So that's not too bad either. Yeah, I set up a league last season with all my mates basically, and there was 45 people involved paying £25 each. And to make it a bit more lively than normal, instead of just having first, second, and third, we had prize money for the triple cap, prize money for highest bench boost, prize for the highest score overall for one game week, triple captain, which I think I just said, which was Aguero with me, luckily, because people had Salah, who with Mane vice 13, but my vice broke it with Hazard 15. And then we had like random game weeks. We had 7 different game weeks where you got a little bit of a little plaque and £25 if you won the game week, and then like 7 weeks out of 38. So yeah, I think out the 45 people that played, I think there was 14 different winners. So much better than your normal league where you have 45 where only 3. So much better in terms of spread, in terms of prize money, and it all worked out for the best really. And hopefully we'll be running that cash league again, and then there's talk of running another cash league on Twitter as well. But we're getting nearer the time for that because at the moment there's a lot going on. Just quickly as well, I qualify for tacticians, and I'll give FPL tactician a quick shout out. For me, matching that league and his standard and being able to achieve that, because it was a period of time left where you had to qualify, so it was a bit of a time where I was going for a bit of a slump to start with. And I went from first, second and third all the way down to about 10th, and it looked like I was going to miss out, and I managed to claw myself back in the top 7 and qualify for his league there, which is a big plus for me and good players to play against. And in my league I won by 200 points, so you know, when you get to compete against some of the top end of the game, it's much better. It's going to make you a better player, so happy days for that. Just quickly looking at my team here, this is my draft 1. Like, this is absolutely not the end. You know, I've had people going mad. Ake, Kolasinac, who puts an Arsenal defender in? You know, I'm just a big Kieran Tierney fan, and I thought, well, if I put Kolasinac in to fill his space, that would do for the minute. Kolasinac is not, and I'll say again, is not going to be in my team in game week 1. Going forward, Dwight McNeil, I love the first fixture against Southampton. I think Burnley without the Europa League are going to be a team that could do a lot better than getting credit for pre-season. So yeah, he would probably be transferred out very quickly. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of my Callum Patterson from last year type player that I'll put in and I'll stick with for a little bit. And you got to take a few chances. You can't have the same team as everyone trying to get through. That's the thing I learned last year. you've got to go with what you think. I was on Twitter in September, so I kind of joined a little bit late into the season, so I missed all the pre-season, who you need to have and whatnot, and I took some gambles last season, and they paid off massively, and that's the only way you're going to build rank. If you want to follow the crowd and you follow what everyone's doing, and you're getting all your templated players in, what's going to break the difference? What's going to catch up the 70 points you've been chasing? And I was saying to people at the end of last season is, you've got to take gambles. You have to. The only way you're going to get results is if you take gamble. If you sit there and you wait 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 for it to change, it isn't going to change. You've got to do something different to the person in front of you. Analyse their team. Try and look at what he's done the previous weeks if you're going to try and catch him in a mini league, or you got some of the top six for a certain league. Look at them top six guys. Who's that one person they haven't got? Because there's always one person they're going to miss out on. And I think last year Bernardo Silva was probably one of those people that people got on a bit later than normal. I know he kind of self-explanatory why he's in the team at the moment for the cheapest City midfielder, really. Other than that, it'd probably be KDB in the future, but who knows. Edson, for me, last season, he was playing stick. And I said it as soon as I come on Twitter, there was a few seasons ago when I had Jakupovic for Hull. Put him in, kept changing it. Put him in, kept changing it. It was a week he got 13 points. I think it was away at Southampton. He saved the last minute penalty or something. And it killed me having him on the bench. And I just could never get it keepers right. So from that moment, I've always said I'm just going to have a set and forget for the keepers. Did it with Edison last year. I think he played 36 of the 38 weeks. I think it was 2 blank game weeks that he missed. And it's just, you haven't got to worry about 2 different players. You've got your bench player you haven't got to worry about, and your keeper you haven't got to worry about. So you're just kind of managing the variables of your team. And the less variables you've got to change about, the less stress you're going to get on the Friday or the Saturday morning when you sit there and you are. And for me, previous seasons when I haven't taken FPL seriously, I stress about certain bits and I make a rash decision last minute, and it's a -4 for the sake of taking a -4, and then you actually work the maths out where you've taken a -4 for a defender or a midfielder, and all they do is keep a clean sheet. You get 3, with actually a -1 from what you had with your midfielder was getting 2 before. So yeah, if you can take the variables out of it and just have to worry about 1 or 2 little errors of your pitch, it's so much more easily manageable, and you find you don't waste your wild card as well, which is I'll get to a bit later on. Robertson, I remember last summer laughing with a few of my friends saying 6 million, what a rip off, blah blah blah, and then he's in your team week 1 because you look around and think, actually, what am I chatting? He's going to do well, and now he's 7 million and he looks like an absolute bargain at 7 million. Let's just hope he doesn't do a Marcus Alonso, but I can't see that under Klopp's style of play. Ake for me, he's one of them players I just kind of like, and he seems to score a few goals, and I didn't see him in many drafts considering their first few games. Yes, they go tough and in and out and whatnot, and it's Bournemouth, and he plays with a few of the old ringers at the back, but I quite like the signing they had from the Championship. Bristol City, 14 million. He's quite a good player from what I saw, so I'm going to take a gamble on Ake, but as I said, this is only my first draft. This is an absolute first draft. This isn't any other team that I've changed. This is gone from the moment. I didn't sign up straight away because I knew I'd be going around in circles if I signed up on day 1. I just signed up, put this team in, filled my leagues, and left it for a few weeks. And then I'll go forward going from there. Salah, I won't even say anything about Salah. Said about Silva. Zaha, for me, I've took a gamble with Zaha. He wouldn't be in the team, but if he goes to Arsenal, I really like that move. In terms of penalties, and people saying he's going to win loads of penalties to Palace, VAR, he's going to create a few penalties, but it's going to take a few away for people like Zaha, because I think they're going to I think they're going to be so worried about the penalty rates going up and up. I can see them just like bottling little 50-50s and whatnot, and then just sticking with the ref decision, because the refs and the linos aren't going to be giving them decisions. They'll wait for VAR to come back. And if there's no clear cut, and some of Zaha, you see the debates about it is a pen, it's not a pen. The world of Twitter is split. The pundits on TV is split. The replay, different angles, you can't make your mind up, so they just go with the ref's original decision. So I'm kind of not trying to get carried away with VAR. Sigurdsson's always been one of my FPL mates. Put him in last season a little bit ahead of the rush and did really well. I think there was a game he scored 1-0 and he scored against Man U and got an assist for Walcott. When his Swansea days, as we know, I think he scored at Old Trafford with a free kick and everyone was going berserk. So, yeah. I said about Dwight McNeil. Josh King, this just comes down to budget, really. I'd rather Wilson. I had Wilson all of last season. Did wonders for me, especially when he even scored at Man City, if I can remember correctly. Got the jump there and he was brilliant. But yeah, I just can't afford it the way, because I think Kane at 11 million is an absolute bargain myself. I know his August record's been terrible. I think he took that duck away last year and scored once. But for me, Harry Kane at 11 million, this is a guy that was top scorer twice in a row before injury last year. I think he's an absolute must at 11 million. Goalkeeper Snar, I'll just put an absolute fodder on the bench. Lewis Dunk, that's just in case of his Leicester move. Obviously, there's a few talkings about Tarkowski going there instead of Dunk now, but you never know until it happens. Just for me, quickly on Brighton, I think they signed a defender from Portsmouth. I'll come to his name in a minute. It was absolutely excellent. Some of the games I saw on Sky. I think I think they signed him for 3 million. You're telling me there's a 42 million pound difference between him and Dunk, and then there's another 40 million pound difference between Maguire. It's just football's a bit mad sometimes. Mason Greenwood, well, I think he scored again today. If you just go on Twitter and type Mason Greenwood in, that's going to give you everything you need to know about him and why people have got him at 4.5. And he seems to be one of Solskjaer's love childs at the moment. And so, yeah, he's a no-brainer. And Grant Hanley, for me, with all the Norwich defenders and all the Norwich injuries, I think there's a chance he may play at 4 mil. Obviously, I think Kelly's the other one for Palace people have put in. So, yeah, I just thought I'd go Hanley. I know they've got Liverpool, but he's an absolute fourth choicer, so I won't worry too much on there going forward. Yeah, the fixtures. I think there's going to be a few triple captains for Salah. For me personally, I try and hold on to my buttons as long as possible. Bench boost, triple captain free hit. The longer you leave them, for me, the more ammunition you've got to trying to claim jump rank or claw back points. Or for me, my triple captain was probably the one that won me my league. I was about 45 points clear. And then that put me into triple figures when Aguero got his hat-trick against Arsenal / the game against Everton, what pushed him to 57 as a total. So they put me about 105 clear, and at that moment I knew I'd won my league because I knew I wouldn't give any -4s away. So yeah, I was a little bit richer due to that. Yeah, so just my little other thoughts on the team really is going forward. You're probably looking at Ederson, Robertson, Salah, Bernardo. For me, Sigurdsson and Kane. They're going to be your players that aren't going to change. So your variables are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think once I actually make my mind up on what I'm going to do with Kolasinac here and get rid of him because he's gone. That's just an absolutely stupid move by me. I just think Tierney's a good player, but the more I look on Arsenal, the more Twitter's been convincing me about how Arsenal are crap. We'll see, but I can see that being someone else. You're looking at 5 players you need to change on a weekly basis. That's easily manageable. That's easily manageable, especially 2 weeks ahead. And if you can find some value on your bench, you have an easy change into there. So that's that for the team so far. A few questions that I've had on Twitter. Let me just load them up. People asking about certain teams and certain formations. About is it good to play 3 at the back of Liverpool? They've got Robertson, Trent, and Alisson in goal. And I've always found with 3, I played Trent and Robertson at times last year, and it did really well for me. But do you really want to miss out on a Liverpool front 3? That's a question I will ask. Just going to zoom down to. Sorry, there's loads of tags going on here. Bear with me 2 seconds. I had a suggestion about a team that contains Walker, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Digne, Schmeichel, Salah, Sterling, Pereira, Maddison, King and Jota. For me, that's not a bad team at all. Jota for me is a forward. I'm not too sure. You lose their midfield points there, and I can see them sign another centre forward by the sounds of what they've been saying. But that's the gamble you take with Wolves, and also we've got a limit transfers, so it's not the end of the world. Just going to scroll down a bit more. There's so many comments on here. FPL Liam just slated me for the Arsenal defender. Good man. I always like your interactions, mate. Top effort. Samuel De Bruyne, give me a bit of stick about Arsenal. And McNeil about his opening fixtures. Yeah, his opening fixtures, mate. Like I was saying, for me, it's just literally that first game. I just want to hit the ground running, target 60 points, and then I'll deal with week 2. I know people are short-sighted, and I think you've just got to target week by week and just try and achieve their max points. I think some people get so templated to 6 weeks or 5 weeks, 4 weeks, and you're missing a chance. But I'm ready in 3 weeks. Yeah, but in those 3 weeks, someone could score 180 points with an average of 60 a week, which is easily doable, and you score an average of 100, and then you get a great week 4, which is 80 points, and you're 180, and they've got another 40. They're still 40 ahead of you. So, you just got to try and work it week by week. And I've had another comment here, just moving on subject, another comment here saying I'm not using my defensive qualities enough. For me, I play FPL to watch the games for goals. Like, I ain't going 5 at the back. And if it means I finish in the 6 million out of the world, I don't care. I love watching the goals and watching them assists come in. If I'm playing for clean sheets, there's nothing worse than waiting for a clean sheet. And then I think Callum Patterson scored against Liverpool last season from a long ball that come off someone's nose, fell down to his feet via his shin and went in. Them things happen. Do you really want to play this game for clean sheets? I'm not too sure. It's my cup of tea. I'd rather have 5 in midfield and go for goals and assists. I'll take the gamble. I'll take the absolute gamble. Just going back through Twitter for some of the questions. Bear with me. There you go. Profiteers slated me for Kolasinac. Fair play. A couple of NFL questions. I'll chat on other sports later. Bassam, yes, it is true that we talk about unlimited free transfers. You get as many as you want between now and the start of the season. So that's absolutely fine. This was an interesting one. Where was it? Bear with me. Draft. And where are we? Someone talking about Holebas. Someone talking about Holebas for Watford. Holebas is one of those players for me I put in and I get a yellow card and probably a -1 point every week because he concedes 2 goals. So if you can catch Holebas right, Brighton against home first game, I'm not sold on Brighton myself. I think the new manager's a little bit of a stylish playing for. So everyone says, yeah, he's fantastic, Graham Potter, his teams look fantastic, it's the best bit of football. For me, having been currently involved in football as well, a debate I'm having all the time is you can play the best football in the world, but you can lose 2-0. You're only as good as how effective you are. For me, Swansea finished 11th. Yeah, they had Daniel James, but when you actually break their games down, they had a lot of possession, a lot of movement, a lot of this, but actually they had like 2 or 3 shots in certain games. So I'm not sold on Graham Potter going to Brighton. I don't think it's going to be as good as they make out certain aspects. I think Dan Ashworth has chatted him up and chatted him up and chatted him up, and Dan Ashworth at times of the England FA did the same thing. They hired AD Boo for him. You saw how that went with the 21s, and people got about Southgate. I follow England home and away, and the World Cup they played a lot of Jobsworth in some of the games. They got lucky with the draw, and I went to Holland away a couple of seasons ago, and we beat them 1-0 from a Lingard goal. Who, by the way, don't get me started on Jesse Lingard. But Holland weren't much caught, but you saw Holland were trying to play a certain way. England really got the ball out the back like they did in the Nations League and stood still. People blame Barkley, people blame Stones, but I've sat up in 45 rows up in Amsterdam, the ball's at Stones' feet, and you've got players happy to be marked. They're stood marked. Who are you going to pass to when players are marked? So it's not always as what you see on the telly as little areas there. You've kind of got to look at the game sometimes and think, bloody hell, let's open the bigger picture up here. You've got Harry Kane who's got no pace, stood alongside of Van Dijk, so it doesn't always work that way. You just kind of got to read into the game a bit more and going back there. But going back off topic, I'll just go back on Twitter before I start waffling about Brighton again, because I don't want Brighton fans to slate me too much, because it is a good club. Someone saying they love him as a team because he's got Ake, cool. What about KDB? Kevin De Bruyne was, what was it? It's not like season before when he was absolute fantasy goal. I think he was involved with 45 of Man City's 55 Premier League goals of a certain period of time. All the assists and goals he was scoring. I think it was Chelsea away. He scored in a ripper in the top corner, got 15 points that night. Yeah, I'd have KDB in my team, and he probably will be going in my team over Bernardo Silva, especially if players vote him captain. Holebas again. There's another Holebas question. I've just mentioned that. Still figuring KDB or Sigurdsson. That's a tough one because that's two of my favourite fantasy players. I think that's Real Ekinje. Yeah, KDB or Sigurdsson. Don't know. I'd probably go KDB myself, but that's you to find out. And he reckons Daniel James will stun Chelsea. I'd love for Daniel James to stun Chelsea. That's nothing against Chelsea. I just love watching young players be bought for respectable money and come through for their respective clubs. Someone said about Origi getting more time. Yes, I can see Origi getting a lot more time this season. I think he's a good player. I think fair play to the lad. He cracked down and overtook Sturridge, and Sturridge is looking after his dog in LA, trying to find a team whilst betting on football, whilst Origi's with the Champions League goals, scoring in the final. So fair play to the bloke. Alex McKinley brought up a great point earlier, and he was talking about he spread his all through his team. He spread his money throughout his team, and he didn't want to have Sterling or Salah. And I thought, I really respect that approach. Spreading your money out for your team and having a good bench. I personally don't do that because I try and get as much money on the 11 that are playing, and I just try and have them few variables. But there's definitely people out there who make it work, and I was looking at his team and I couldn't fault it in the slightest. Maybe Socrates. But yeah, no. Fair play for that approach. I hope it works for you. My good old friend Keegan Mino out in SA, he always interacts with me, so big shout out to you, son. He's just saying here about how he hasn't seen many teams with Aguero. I think it was the same last year, wasn't it? There wasn't many Aguero. I had Aguero in, and I remember logging in after the Charity Shield where he scored 2 and thinking, Christ, his ownership, must have gone skyrocket after that. So there's a lot of time for that yet, son, don't worry. Going back down, there was another question I wanted to find. It's a little bit further down. This is all in the last few hours and a few days, so this is chaos. But keep it coming. I love all this interaction on Twitter. This is the interesting one here. There was a little debate between a couple of people talking about what teams to have at the back, and they only had 2 teams at the back. For me, I like spreading the defenders. Yes, you get your rewards if you get 2 teams, you get clean sheet, you got 4 players or 5 players. But I kind of find, like I said earlier about the clean sheets, one goal can just ruin your week, and I had it before. I remember a game last season where I must have had 2 Liverpool, and I think I had 2 Chelsea, Aspilicueta, and I had Kepa in. No, I didn't have Kepa because I had Henderson. So I can't remember who I had. No, it was Kepa. It was in the double game week. So I had Kepa and Azpilicueta, and I think they conceded to someone like Cardiff. And if it wasn't for the Azpilicueta goal offside, it was totally irrelevant for me a week. It would have ruined it. So, yeah, I kind of seen the logic between that debate. Someone commented on my team. Really? Well, it was game week. I hadn't even started it. It's only draft one, so give me a chance. Yeah, another few abusive tweets laughing at my team. Well, we can't please everyone. If I want to have template and go the same team as everyone else, would I finish 1,408th in the world? Probably not. So cut me a little bit of slack. Why not? I'm only joking. I take it all day. Yeah, there's quite an interesting one. There's a guy called @FootstockChat who's been putting together a list of free Twitter FPL leagues for cash. Really, obviously my one's in that list, as you know, in the top right hand corner. If you're watching this video, you're probably already in my league. Where there's 100 quid to the winner, etc. And it may go up depending on how we get on the numbers. So yeah, give him a little follow and check out. Just going to scroll down. People just saying they're joining the league, retweets. Here we go, here's the next one. Here's the last one I'm going to bring off from Twitter, and then I'm going to close Twitter down and talk about a few other little bits quickly. Premium striker / midfield combo. Kane Salah, Kane Sterling, Aguero Salah, Aguero Sterling. Obviously, for me, I've got Kane Salah. I think 47% of this went Kane Salah. 0% went Kane Sterling, which I found really interesting, especially with the England hookup. If you watch that game away in Spain, which I was at fortunately in at Real Betis, where they won 3-2, and the way Kane dropped in the hole and played Rashford and Sterling in behind, you look at that and you think, well, Kane Sterling, why don't you have your two England players as an England fan? But no, I don't know. The 0%, no one seems to be showing them much love. I know they play for different teams and whatnot, but with the fixtures, I thought there'd be a bit more love out there with the England fans going for Kane Sterling. Aguero and Salah was 35. Yeah, that was probably a regular pattern last season, and then 18% for Aguero and Sterling. Will Jesus play this season? It's got to happen eventually, isn't it? I don't know. He just signed a new 5-year deal. We'll see. So yeah, just going to log off Twitter there. I'm just going to give that a close down. There's a few more messages from teams coming in, but that can go for the next video. I'm just going to quickly chat about NFL Twitter. So, NFL fantasy for me, like a massive one. I've got another trophy up there from a cash league I won 2 seasons ago. I lost it last year. I had a stinker, but 2 seasons ago I won it in my first season. It's just a 16 or 12 man league. You pick your players like FPL draft, and it's a good crack. And for me, I love NFL. Support the Chargers. I won't say it out too loud because obviously they moved to LA, and I went to San Diego a few times, so I should really be a bit loyal to San Diego. But I'm from England and went to the Wembley game last year. And for me, another one quickly about our F1 league. So we've got an F1 fantasy league. Some great people in that. There's a real going to the wire between me and Brian and a few other guys who are really pushing forward. It's a little bit stale. I'll give F1 fantasy a bit of, they need to up the game a little bit, and it is a little bit stale. You pick your 5 drivers and it kind of doesn't really go anywhere from there. But other than that, for me, F1's a great sport. I went live last year for the first time, and having seen what they do live and how quick they're going, it's absolutely incredible. So give it a little check, see what you like, and if you want to join the league just as a little bit of practice for next season, or just something else to keep your weekends going, just hit me up on Twitter at Fantasy Panda, really. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going to close. I'm just, I've talked little bits in little bobs, and I'm going to do another video soon about what strategies I'm going to use going forward when I've actually secured my team. If you've got any questions or anything you want to help, just ask in the comments. Make sure you subscribe and hit me up on Twitter. Yeah, ciao.